Hey everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, the traditional custodians of the land on which these videos are made, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides, and the universal energies. Okay, entertainment only. What I want to have a look at. I was going to have a reading on this yesterday, but by the time I got to the end of yesterday's reading, I felt that was actually enough, and my guides will often prevent me from doing a reading. They'll just basically say, "No, you're done for the day." Oh, okay, because there's something else that's going to come forward that they want me to throw into the mix. So what I want to actually have a look at is. Really, I'm just going to do a reading on Gaia, on Mother Nature, on the future of what's happening with Gaia. What's happening around the world at the moment, well, we're not only having some pretty massive earthquakes, but there are wildfires everywhere like you wouldn't believe, except for in Australia. For a change, we haven't got wildfires, we've got flooding. Um, Wildfires, flooding, excessive heat, 40 degrees plus ongoing in Europe, which is just unheard of before. And we're using the word, it seems like the word unprecedented is being used over and over and over again because we are literally in uncharted territories. But it does, then the word unprecedented is losing its cut through value that it had, but we are absolutely in uncharted territories. So the latest overnight, there is, I believe, in Alaska, quite a significant threat of flooding due to glacial melt. This isn't normal glacier melt, this is climate change, warming melt. In Australia, off South Australia, I'll just check to see if I noted it the day before, which I very possibly, oh yes, I had. Um, off South Australia. So if you think of Australia, you see it on the map, and we've got that little chomped out bit in the bottom. That's where South Australia is. There's an algal bloom in the ocean there, a maritime algal bloom that is covering 4,500 square kilometres. This is massive. And what happens is the algae sucks the oxygen out of the oceans and literally smothers the marine life. All of it smothers it. There is no oxygen left, and the fish life, the crustacean life, the shellfish, the kelps and seaweeds suffocate to death. 4,500 square kilometres. Started in March, first became aware of it in March. The government was pretty much, ooh, okay, keeping an eye on it, expecting it to die off, this algae bloom, over winter. We're now getting towards the middle of August and it ain't dying off. And if anything, it's actually growing, and it is because the waters are warmer. It is also because of nutrients. We had massive floods that brought flood waters down from northern Australia right down through the system to southern Australia, where it was expelled out into the ocean. So a lot of high nutrient value was also flushed out because, gee, the farmers like to throw artificial fertilizers all over everything in Australia as well, but also just even natural fertilizers. So what's happened is we've got this massive algae bloom. I gather there are horrific wildfires happening in Portugal and Spain and in Northern California, up through into Canada at the moment. It's just very much so. Now, NASA has also warned us, which is probably another reason why the orange twerp, I read on it last week, I believe, is wanting to decommission the 2 NASA satellites that monitor climate change, monitor ocean current flows. They have been warning that the ocean current that goes, I believe, clockwise around the Pacific, so up the coast of Australia, up the coast of Asia, up over around Alaska, cools down up there, comes down again, bringing cold water with it, warms up, takes warm water to the Arctic, cools down, picks up warm water, takes it up again. That is actually shifting, becoming weaker. It is a major current. It travels at quite extraordinary speeds to shift the cooling and warming of the Pacific Ocean. That's shifting. So I'm not trying to cause alarm. What I want to say is just be really, really aware that Mother Nature at the moment, Gaia, is attempting to restabilize herself. So just be aware that we are going to see more and more Mother Earth, Gaia, the spiritual realm as well, is really just the universal energies with Earth is trying to rebalance herself. So have your go bags ready. Be aware. Don't be alarmed. Just be aware. Have your community networks in place. This is not going to happen overnight, but we are pretty much, I think the scientists have been warning us for decades, right since the 1960s actually, but they're now warning us that we're getting very, very close to the no return stage. So there's some pretty dramatic stuff that needs to happen. Okay. On a humanity level. Now, someone asked me the other day, they emailed me, they had been in discussions with their partner who apparently is quite up in the technology about a weapon. And they were talking about the development of weapons, and we know that the extraterrestrials, the off-planets, will protect humanity from a nuclear weapon detonation because Earth is pretty important to the off-planets and in the universal realm. So there'll be protection, but they were asking me if I was picking up on, this is the radio, yeah, they are protecting, very much protecting. Protecting against, because the planet is important to them. Not necessarily the humans on the planet, but the planet is very important to them, and they are protecting it. Their question was, will humanity develop a weapon different from nuclear that will potentially, and that was a big yes, but that's also my nuclear explosion card. Their question was, will humanity create a weapon that will wipe out humanity, and if so, will the aliens stop that as well? And it's not a nuclear weapon, it's more like an energy weapon. I got a big no. That's a plus. That was a big no. However, I do get that the changes in climate, and there's that yes card showing itself to me again, the climate change will cause major reduction in humanity. Okay, thank you. What I got when I thought and read on this was humans either have to take control themselves to make changes, or the changes will be forced upon us. And that is basically where we're at. And what was that? I just saw the Fool card, the New Start. Absolutely. We have the opportunity for this bringing an end to what was and stepping through into what can be. The opportunity is there, presented for us to take for this new beginning. Okay. Otherwise, it will be forced upon us. That sounds so serious. So it basically is reducing the human population, reducing our consumption, moving to sustainable. So my question is, and I think it is entirely possible, absolutely entirely possible. So let me have a look. My question is, are humans capable of doing this on our own? At the moment, I don't think so. You only got to look at what's going on in the world at the moment. But are humans capable of bringing about this change? Now, I'm just going to say Western societies, the majority of Western societies, have a declining population rate, including Australia, because and that's not so much because of we're trying to reduce our population intentionally. It's just that what you find is people who are educated, who are in a stable environment, who are, how do I put it, who are secure, don't have as many children. You often will find couples will choose not to have children at all, or if they have one, if they have any, they might have one between them. What you find is the Western society populations are changing. Now, David Attenborough, or Sir David Attenborough, I should call him, did a really interesting documentary on this a few years back, basically saying that the way to the number one way to protect the environment is to educate the women, educate the girls, because educated women are the key. But let's have a look, which is why with these societies that suppress female education, it's really concerning. But what you'll find is they then, the only purpose for women then is their breeding value. Let's have a look. Will humans, so I'm going to do a series of questions. Will humans be able to do this alone, bring this change about? Will the off-planets have to intervene to bring about this change, and will it then be successful? And the third is, will we have it forced upon us? Will the aliens stand back and just let it happen? And it will be forced upon us. Will humans be able to bring about the change? I'm going to do an energies reading, which is a different layout. Be able to bring about this change on our own. Come on down, this one flew out. The Six of Wands. Being seen and heard. Women taking control and being seen and heard with their message, applauded for their message. It's not so much women taking control, it's just the voice of women being heard. And they are bringing forward this new plan, this new passion. So this is very much about putting the spotlight on women. So this is the energy. This is the signifier card. The second signifier is the Tower card. And this is going to be brought about by the absolute destruction of the patriarchal, what was, the rampant consumerism, the clambering over others, dog eat dog type of world, the tearing down of what was, to focus on the nuts and bolts of what is really important, and you'll find it will be transformative of what can be. Okay, powerful two first cards out. I'm asking, can humanity do this without intervention by themselves? And yes, it can, but it is about listening to the feminine energy. Now, whether it's Tim Walsh or Dan Rupicoli or women themselves, it's being in touch with that feminine message. Nurturing, caring community, working together. And it will involve the tearing down of what was so that we can rebuild in what can be. Okay, the energy behind the scenes at the moment, the Four of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So the Four of Swords is very much about wounded and retreating, having to self-nurture. She's also in her nest and not taking notice of what's going on outside of that environment. I just think we're going to have to take a wounding and a step back. The second energy behind the scenes is the Queen of Cups. So there's going to be some really brutal truths that come forward, and because we've chosen as humanity, I'm not necessarily talking about you and me, I'm talking about as humanity, we have chosen to ignore the warning signs, the messages of the scientists, etc. We had the opportunities in the past. I mean, Jimmy Carter put solar panels on the White House and Ronald Reagan then tore them off again. That sort of opportunities that we had that weren't taken. We're going to be forced through truths into this retreat position. The other energy behind the scenes is the Queen of Cups. Again, this feminine energy, but it's not all come forth yet. We are getting there. Queen of Cups. This is about revealing what is in her cup, about surrendering to the truth of what is. But it's a lot of emotion that is involved here. This is a very emotive topic, and I do apologize if I'm triggering here. I just feel it's an important message. Entertainment only, in case I haven't said that already. But yeah, I think we need to take the lid off and expose the emotion of it and bring the emotion of it to the surface. So we've got here the Two of Pentacles. So coming out of this truth that we are being exposed to and having to really think about is the Two of Pentacles. And this is very much about juggling the materialistic is with the ethereal what can be. So the materialism, the spiritualism, the consumerism, the community. It is a juggling act. It's going to be a juggling act, and which one comes out on top is up to us. Spread the message with the Knight of Wands. Beat your drum, spread the message. We can do this, but we need to get the message out there, wide and far. The karma hanging over, the Seven Swords, the abuse, the betrayal, the deceit, the lies, the propaganda, the spin. We know where this is coming from. This was from in Australia, Scotty from marketing, our trounced ex-Prime Minister who was Timu Trump, bringing a lump of coal into Parliament saying, this is not your enemy. Excuse me, fossil fuels, the lies about fossil fuels, the lies about recycling, the lies about what can be done, the betrayal about what can be done. Yeah, this is the energy hanging over it for those that have a vested interest, but the light is starting to be shone on the lies. For example, the lies about turbines. Oh, the wind has to be blowing and the sun has to be shining for renewable to work, which is the biggest load of BS. We produce more renewable than can actually be used. The problem at the moment is storage of that renewable to then use when the sun's not shining, the wind's not blowing. But it's also, that's not the only renewable. Renewable can be produced by hydro with turbines in water flow situations, by tidal turbines underwater. Grumble, 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 grumble. Yeah, so the energy over at the moment in regards to this is deception and lies. And, lies about how serious the situation is too. But the second is the star of hope, the star of healing, the star of what can be. We can do this. We can. The light is finally being shone on the propaganda lies of this, and we can heal. We have the technology. We have the technology available to remove carbon from the atmosphere, aside from the fact that damn well planting trees makes biggest carbon store available, and they produce the oxygen that we breathe. But we have the technology, even if it's using mechanical means to remove carbon from the atmosphere. And we have the ability to reduce population as well through birth control, through personal choice, for allowing, legislating people to have choice. So I love that, the star of hope and healing. Temperance, finding a balance. How's this for an outcome card? So yes, I do love this. Humans do have the ability to do so. Look at the difference between the juggling here and the juggling here. This is really beautiful energy. This is this indecisive about which way to go. This is finding the balance. However, there will always be those that will try and tear down this ability to balance. Looking at you, Orange Twerp, and others in your ilk, as they try to reach a pinnacle of power and do not care who they destroy on the path on the way through, with that Five of Wands. And then we've got the Five of Cups, which is about a need to change the focus from this false promise that we've all been spun, lied to about, however you like to put it, and look at what can be done. Instead of expecting others to solve this for us, solving this ourselves, looking at the opportunities that we are not looking at, instead of continuously feeding this bottomless black pit of the false promise. So 2 5s, the challenge. The challenge is, the gauntlet's been thrown down. The challenge is there. Interestingly enough, with these 2 cards, I'm reminded of again another email discussion that I was having with somebody about how we have been fed the lie of you are what you do. Now, I don't mean do as in who you are as a person out in society. I'm talking about what you do as a job. Basically, in in some Western societies, your worth is based on your employment, what job you do, and whether you have a job or not. Oh, the biggest lie that we've been spun is that the stay-at-home mothers don't work. Bullshit. They work harder than any top CEO. Genuine, ones that do right. If you've ever spent a day at home with 2 toddlers and trying to run a household and get the grocery shopping done and pay the bills and get the laundry done and keep the toddlers entertained and start to educate them and blah, 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 and look after the sick elderly parent or whatever it is, they are the hardest working individuals. To say that they have no worth, basically saying start not working, which means that they have no worth, is the biggest lie that we have been spun by the patriarchy. And that's the same to do in Australia. It's really big for women to have Ms., MS put in the front of their name as a title. that indicates that they are female, but their marital status is nobody's business. Miss and Mrs. were again identifiers put in by the patriarchy to signify who was married and who was not. Well, it's none of anybody's business. So we are being set this challenge of changing our attitudes, challenge and obstacle, and it will require walking away, letting go of, releasing, putting down the false narratives that we have been spun, told in the past. So yes, humans do have the ability and the embracing of, now it is the King of Cups, doesn't have to be a male, it's just emotionally mature, stable leadership that is nurturing and caring as well, and protecting, the two kings, and protecting and finding emotional joy, finding the joy, but knowing that all our actions have consequences and acknowledging the truth. So I'm just going to say, yes, we do. We do have the ability. We have the ability to manifest this with the magician on the bottom, to bring this about, to bring about this new beginning, to embrace our feminine intuition and spirituality and acknowledgement that we need a healthy planet to survive. The planet does not need us. And look at how we can do things differently. Page of Swords, we're on this sword of truth. We have the technology, we have the knowledge, we have the ability. It's time to step into our strength. Oh, look at these major arcanas to finish up with on the bottom here. To step into our strength, our compassionate strength of all creatures, of our planet, the hermit. We have this light inside of us. It's not impossible, but we need to come down off this secure, isolated ledge that we've put ourselves on and start on this path of bringing this about, because we are facing a significant ending. The beginning, the new beginning, which is glorious, but it will be our choice. These are powerful cards. We are being presented with the opportunity. There is confusion about which way to go forward in regards to this, but the confusion is being brought by those that have unpleasant vested interests that are clouding the choices. It's time to listen to the inspirational women that are out there. Going back to this, spread the message. Listen to the inspirational women. Okay, so straight up, yes, humans do have the ability to bring about the change that is necessary for our ongoing survival, and it is not based in consumerism growth. Just going to put it out there. It's not based in consumerism growth. Growth and inflation and prices going up and more is not sustainable. It's not infinite. Again, as I'm shuffling, we've got this, and it is about the cycle, and it's a closed cycle, and it's about giving and receiving help. A sustainable cycle. So yes, we do have the ability. Okay, I'm just going to throw a couple of cards because that was quite long. We're up to nearly 30 minutes already. If humans can't, if humans don't, I won't say can't because we can. If humans choose not to, will the aliens, will the extraterrestrials step in? Okay, those two cards. Will the extraterrestrials step in? Yes, eventually. But I think they're going to leave us to stew in what we do first. And then we have the Star of Hope and Healing. And so I'm going to say yes, but not rapidly. They're not going to do it. They're not going to step in if humans don't, because we can, so I won't say can't. If humans choose not to take the higher path, the path of healing for the planet, will they step in? It will depend on the choices that individual humans make. So this is a yes, but it's very much about, I'm getting the feeling not everybody. What I'm getting is not for everybody. For those that choose their path forward, their options forward, what they choose to do based on not greed, not doing the same old, not greed, not bling, that choose what they are intuitively drawn to do for higher reasons, then yes. It's almost like some yes and some no. This is the second time this card has shown itself to me while I'm asking this question. So we've got the Temperance card, but you've got the Angel here, you've got finding the balance, but then you've got the truth of moving forward, moving onwards, walking away from what emotionally is not serving, and then we've got this new beginning. It feels like, I'm just going to say, so to me, this is almost like extraterrestrial figure here with the sun and the moon and out in the universe with its wings. It's like, I'm just getting some. There will be others that they will just let go. Now, I don't know how they're going to do this, whether they decide to take, a few million of us or whatever off planet. I don't know how they're going to do this. But this is going back to very much about a new beginning. Those that have proven themselves to care on the emotional level. Now, if I go to the top of the deck, yes. Yes. When it comes to the crunch, yes. But not everybody. Not everybody. Okay, so this is and then we've got the new beginning, the truth, the brutal reality. And this is the taking the steps to bring forward this new truth. So that's what I'm getting. I'm going to leave it there. It is a yes, but it is not everybody. Now, do not ask me how the aliens are going to decide who's deserving. It's going to be a yes, but not everybody. Oh, that's a bit sucky. Right. I think it's more about those who step into this new energy and try to bring about this new change will be those who are just continuing on in their greed or unsustainable practices potentially not. Okay. Are we just, is it just going to be a free-for-all? Is Mother Nature trying to rebalance herself? Is it just going to be a free-for-all on humanity? Come on down, let's have a look. The Hierophant. Okay. Signifier. We have the opportunity to decide what we want our future to look like. And it can be the tree of life and it can be amazing, but we have to take the steps to bring it about. Step into your power, your authority in your little part of the world and take the steps, one step at a time, which means action needs to be taken to bring about this future. I'm doing a extended Celtic cross here, so this one is a challenge. And the challenge is the adoration of money. The adoration of the materialistic, the protection of the materialistic over the environmental. At the moment, for example, trees are only valued, usually, by what they can produce, whether it be food or whether it can be timber. They are not valued for their uncalculable wealth of simply being, of their ability to convert oxygen, of their ability to store carbon, of their ability to stabilize weather patterns, etc. Perfect example of this is we have a town in is it northwestern New South Wales? I'm trying to think where Broken Hill actually is, called Broken Hill, where the BHP started. It's the big steel making, but they've branched out into a whole lot of other stuff. And boy, oh boy, do they do some environmental damage around the world. But where the first BHP steel factory was set up in Broken Hill Proprietary Limited, is BHP. Around Broken Hill, there were what we call dry area rainforests. So used to be a really lush area, from what I understand, quite lush. I mean, comparatively. Built this steelworks, cut down all the trees to burn to create steel, and it is now a desert out there. So the trees around Broken Hill, I mean, this is going back 100 and something years, 150 years or something. The only worth of the trees around Broken Hill was feeding the fires of the steelmaking facility to create steel to sell. That was their only worth. And what was lost was the ability for the region to produce rain, to have a lush, it wasn't lush, but it was a lusher climate. Now it's just a barren desert. So the challenge is the materialistic adoration of money, of wealth, of materialistic possessions, etc., and the protection of such. Okay. We have right now, here and now, the opportunity. The wheel of fortune can turn either way, and we have the opportunity to choose. Now, she's got dice around her neck. We can choose the same old, or we can choose to move into the new, unknown new. So we are at this wheel time. In the past, the anguish, the despair, the nightmare situations, this is pretty much here and now, the wildfires, the flooding, you name it. the anxiety. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. I can't do. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you are correct. And it might be as simple as if you are with your electricity account, you can tick a box that says offset my carbon credits or use 100% renewable, or something along those lines. If you're needing to buy a new car, look at either a hybrid or electric. If you can't go full electric, look at a hybrid. If you are needing some new clothes, if you have a look, there's quite a number of online secondhand clothing websites. Don't even have to go down the op shop. You can look online and buy something online, secondhand clothing. The despair of what can't I do? It's time to look at the white raven of what you can do. And it can be very simple. Grow some of your own food. You don't need to grow much, even if it's just if you're in an apartment, a herb garden on the windowsill or something. First of all, you're improving the air inside your apartment, but you're also producing something that brings joy and satisfaction. And even if you just use some parsley or some basil or some dill or something in your dinner on a nightly basis, it's producing something for you, along with improving the atmosphere. Crowning this reading, so a human's going to be left to their own devices, a need to move towards more community-based with that Six of Cups, and live more simply and find joy in the simple pleasures. We don't need to go jet-setting off to wherever. Find joy in the simple pleasures. This is what is on offer emotionally. It is up to us whether we pick it up or not. And it is an emotional shift, not a financial shift, not a physical shift. It starts with an emotional shift. Externally, perhaps we feel like we can't do anything, that we're tied up, that we're blindfolded, that we have no choice. But in reality, this is how we perceive. But in reality, we always have choices. We have the ability to step away from this reflection, this false reflection of we can't. Absolutely we can. These are really positive cards as well. Internally, we can manifest in our own little neck of the woods what we need here. We can bring it. We have all the tools available to us to do this. We can bring this about. It is about letting go, acknowledging the truth and letting go and stepping over into a new horizon, a new dawn, a new beginning. And it is about nurturing, caring, protecting nature, each other. Each life is precious, not just human life, but each life. Plant a tree knowing that you'll never sit under it. Lobby your local councils if they've got a lot of green space to put some aside for street trees. The Queen of Swords. There's no reason why every park can't be is it Central Park in New York that has all that beautiful trees? There's no reason why every park can't be a smaller version of that. Queen of Swords. It's time to be brutally honest, to be truthful, to bring our knowledge forward and look at the future, not the here and now, but towards the future with truth and honesty, and this is technology and its skills on an unemotional level. First of all, we have to have the emotional shift, And then we have to put the emotions aside and decide what we are actually going to do. And it takes us stepping outside of our comfort zones. We have the option to step away from this I can't mirror, because we can. It's only a false perception, and we have the choice. So the choice is here to step over into this new beginning, to step beyond the known, where it's safe and secure, into what can be. Working together with others, the opportunity is here, working together with others to create magic. It's time to get on our bikes. Get on, Knight of Swords, get on our bikes, move this forward, move this truth forward. Page of Wands, find joy in the smallest of changes, the new plan, the new passion. Be passionate about the message you're putting out there. And then we have the Sun card. We can do this, but we need to work together. We need to think outside the box with the Page of Pentacles. We've then got the Star of Hope and Healing, at the Tower card, and a need to look at things differently. We have everything we need to bring this about in the here and now. And doesn't mean everybody has to do everything. Just choose what it is that you can do. Whether it be turning old big blankets into babies' blankets, whether it be unraveling old jumpers and re-knitting if you're a knitter, for, upcycling is what we call it over here in Australia. Whether it be, walking that 5 minutes to the shops instead of leaping in the car, whatever it is, every single one of us has the opportunity, whether it be supporting people in their choice not to have children, instead of, oh, when are you going to have kids? If they say, if they choose not to, or for any reason they can't have children, it's nobody else's business. Support them in that decision. Whatever it is, plant some herbs on your windowsill. We can do this. So basically, what's going to happen if society's left to its own devices? I think we're going to be okay. I think we have the choice. If we choose not to, then the off planets will step in when a certain point is reached to save those who are desperately trying to save. But the other two readings we have the ability to do this, and I think we are going to. I think it's going to be okay. Okay, love to you all. Take care. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye.